Hello and welcome to Maxum Foods Inside Track. Beautiful autumn day here in Brisbane. Happy St Pat's Day to all our Irish viewers for yesterday. I hope you all had a good day and enjoyed a few Guinness. Let's have a look to see what's happening in dairy. Starting off with whole milk powder. So on the GDT last night we saw a 4% decline, which was in line, or generally in line, a little bit below expectations on the futures market. However, we did see a lot less participation from North Asia, so China looks to be reasonably stocked up with whole milk, hence there was less demand from them last night. Bit of a shift into Southeast Asia and Middle Eastern markets. However, demand was reasonably bearish against a strong sort of last 2 to 3 months. In terms of the supply side of things, good shoulder of the season for New Zealand, so healthy supply. So if we do see some uncertainty in that demand over the next 2 to 3 months, it does look like a reasonably flat market. Having a look at skim milk powder, so Skim continues its bullish run, so another increase last night on the GDT, which has been the case for the last 3 to 4 GDTs. So some 5-year high numbers for skim milk powder. If you look on a global scale, non-fat dairy or non-fat out of the US is in scarce supply, so less of it on the global market that is driving price up. And then if you look over at the EU, freight concerns, global freight movements, vessels, etc. Harder to get products across to these Southeast Asian, Middle Eastern and North Asian markets. So people are looking for Australia and New Zealand skim, hence those continued jumps on GDT. So for the short term, with that uncertainty and volatility, we'd expect skim to be bullish for the next 2 to 3 months. Having a look at butter and AMF, so AMF last night we saw an increase on the GDT. We've seen some firm conditions on AMF, in particular in the Middle East, so they were 40% of the offtake last night on the auction. Good demand as supply lines are disrupted into that region. We're seeing that market in particular looking to cover for the short term and just making sure they've got sufficient stock. If we look globally, Southeast Asia as well, some good demand on AMF. So your bullish conditions on AMF. Butter seems to have levelled out a little bit in demand. We have seen some increases on the US pricing and EU, some firming in both those regions. And Australia and New Zealand seems to have settled a little bit at current numbers. So we do suspect, although in a very volatile market at the moment, some reasonably firm pricing for butterfat for the next 3 months. Moving across to cheese, if we look on a global scale, in USA we have seen some firming on the CME, so demand conditions are improving both domestically and on the export market, but still reasonably good value in US cheese. On the EU side of things, just about to head into the new season, so supply will be good. However, the market seems reasonably balanced there, so pricing is holding up. If you look over in Australia and New Zealand, there's some real question mark around domestic demand conditions, especially in Australia. A lot's been said about interest rate increases, that real cost of living crunch. So how that will affect cheese, you should suspect that it is still a staple in the Aussie diet, so demand should hold up. However, there may be some volatility in the next short term. Finishing off with sweet whey and proteins, so that competition for whey solids continues across the globe, so people are obviously looking to further value add that to WPC, WPI. with their protein. So yeah, sweet whey is in supply, seems reasonably scarce, and that doesn't look to change in the next 6 to 12 months. So yeah, less sweet whey on the market, pricing reasonably firm. If we look at the protein side of things, yeah, no change there. So we have obviously a lot of the multi-nats throughout the globe. Their NPD teams are really focusing on new product development with protein or protein-enriched products, so that demand continues to be firm, hence pricing firm for the next 6 to 12 months. In summary, volatility and uncertainty reigns supreme at the moment, so we're seeing a lot of shifts in global regional demand, AMF into the Middle East, for example, Skim into Southeast Asia. So yeah, there's some real uncertainty, obviously with supply chain, so we do see those little pockets of demand shifting throughout the globe. So it looks to be the case for the next 3 months. So yeah, any advice to give is just to look at your product portfolio and lock in product just for that certainty over the next 3 to 6 months. Thanks very much for listening to today's Inside Track. Have a wonderful fortnight, be safe, and I'll speak to you soon.